Abigail's hands trembled as she forked her salad. Her chest tightened. The restaurant doors swung open. He was here. Her ex, tall, sharp, the one who had left bruises she would never forget. And two other girls trailing behind, a blonde and a brunette laughing softly, unaware of her gaze. 6 months. 6 months of trying to breathe without him haunting her thoughts. And now he was here, smug, powerful, the predator she had learned to fear. Her heart pounded. Panic clawed up her throat. She couldn't let him reach her. Not now. Her eyes landed on him. Jin-woo, seated alone at the next table, calm, composed, dressed in a black suit, completely unaware. Impulse overrode reason. There was no time. She rose, skirts brushing the floor, and stepped toward him. And then she did it. Abigail leaned forward, pressing her lips against him. Not for desire. Not for attraction. For survival. He remained still. Calm. Eyes closed. And Abigail whispered just enough so only he could hear, "Please. Protect me." Behind her, the ex's gaze sharpened. The two girls with him stiffened. But Jin-woo didn't move. He didn't flinch. And Abigail realized the cost of that moment would be far greater than she could ever imagine. The kiss ended. Abigail pulled back, breathless, her brown skin flushed, her curls falling slightly over one eye. She expected anger. Confusion. Maybe disgust. But Jin-woo's expression was unreadable. Stone. Cold marble carved into a face too beautiful to be real. His hand, strong, deliberate, reached up and cupped the side of her face. "Sit," he said. One word. Command wrapped in silk. Abigail's knees buckled slightly. She slid into the chair across from him, her back to her ex, her pulse hammering in her ears. Marcus didn't approach. He couldn't. Not with Jin-woo's hand still resting possessively on the edge of the table, fingers drumming once, twice, a rhythm that seemed to echo warning. The blonde whispered something to Marcus. He shook his head sharply, then turned, leading both girls toward a corner booth far from Abigail's sight line. She exhaled. "Thank you," she whispered. Jin-woo tilted his head. "You think this is free?" Her stomach dropped. "I didn't think," Abigail started. "No. You didn't." Jin-woo leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled beneath his chin. "But you chose me. That makes you mine now. You asked for protection." His voice was low, measured, like a blade slicing through velvet. "I don't protect for free. And I don't protect halfway." Abigail's throat tightened. "I just needed him to leave me alone." "He saw you kiss me," Jin-woo said. "He saw me accept it. If I let you walk away now, what does that say about me?" "I don't understand." Jin-woo smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "You will." He stood, buttoning his suit jacket with precise movements. Then he extended a hand toward her. "Come." "Where?" "Somewhere he won't follow." Abigail glanced back. Marcus was staring at them, his face twisted with something dark. Jealousy, rage, possessiveness. She looked at Jin-woo's hand. He took it. As they walked toward the exit, a waiter approached Jin-woo and bowed deeply. "Mr. Kang," the waiter murmured in Korean. Jin-woo replied in the same language, his tone sharp. Abigail's pulse quickened. "What did he call you?" "My name. Jin-woo Kang." She'd heard that name before. Somewhere. A news article? A whispered rumor at the gallery where she worked? Her mind raced, but before she could place it, they were outside. A black Mercedes waited at the curb. The driver opened the rear door without a word. Jin-woo gestured for Abigail to enter. She hesitated. "I don't even know you. You knew me well enough to kiss me." "That was different." "Was it?" He stepped closer and Abigail could smell his cologne. Something expensive, smoky, dangerous. You kissed a stranger to escape a monster. But what if the stranger is worse? Her breath caught. "Are you?" Jin-woo studied her for a long moment, his dark eyes searching hers. Then he smiled again, that same hollow smile. "Get in the car, Abigail." "How do you know my name?" He nodded toward her purse. "Your ID is visible. You should be more careful." She climbed into the car. Jin-woo slid in beside her. The door closed with a heavy thunk. The driver pulled smoothly into traffic. Silence stretched between them. "Where are we going?" "My place." "Absolutely not." Jin-woo glanced at her, amused. "You think I need to take you to my home to hurt you?" "What I need," he said slowly, is to understand why a woman I've never met decided I was worth the risk. I told you. My ex, Marcus Hall. Investment banker. Known for aggressive business tactics. Also known for putting his ex-girlfriend in the hospital 2 years ago. Abigail froze. How do you? I know a lot of things. The moment you kissed me, you became my responsibility. So I had my people look into you. It took 3 minutes. This wasn't normal. None of this was normal. What are you? She whispered. Jin-woo turned to face her fully, and in the dim light of the car he looked almost otherworldly. I'm someone who keeps his word, he said. You asked for protection. I'll give it to you. But everything has a price. What price? You stay with me. For now. For how long? Until I decide you're safe. That's insane. Perhaps. He leaned back, relaxed. But you have 2 choices. Go back to your apartment where Marcus knows you live. Or come with me where he'll never find you. Abigail's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I saw what you did. You're going to regret this. She showed Jin-woo the message. He didn't seem surprised. He's fast, Jin-woo murmured. He took her phone, powered it off, and removed the SIM card with practiced ease. You won't need this for a while. If you want to survive this, you follow my rules. Rule 1. You don't contact anyone without my permission. Rule 2. You don't leave my site without my permission. Rule 3. You don't lie to me. Ever. Abigail's mouth went dry. This sounds like a prison. It's protection. What's the difference? Jin-woo smiled faintly. Intent. The car pulled up to a sleek modern high-rise building, glass and steel gleaming under city lights. The driver opened the door. Jin-woo stepped out first, then offered his hand again. Abigail didn't take it this time. She climbed out on her own. The building's entrance was guarded. 2 men in suits nodded as Jin-woo approached. They didn't ask questions. Inside, the lobby was marble and minimalism. A chandelier hung from the vaulted ceiling, casting fractured light across the floor. Penthouse, Jin-woo said to the concierge, who immediately pressed the elevator button. As the elevator rose, Abigail's heart hammered. What happens when we get up there? You tell me everything. About Marcus. About why you're really afraid. Jin-woo's eyes darkened. And about what you're not telling me. The elevator chimed. The doors opened. Abigail stepped inside, breath catching. It was stunning. Cold. Impersonal. Jin-woo shrugged off his jacket. Beneath, his crisp white shirt stretched across broad shoulders. Drink? He asked. No. Suit yourself. He poured himself something amber. Sit. Abigail remained standing. I'm not a dog. No. You're a woman who kissed a stranger and walked into his car without knowing who he was. So sit. And talk. She sat. Barely. On the edge of a leather armchair. Jin-woo settled onto the couch across from her, legs crossed, posture relaxed. But his eyes were calculating, sharp, missing nothing. Why did Marcus scare you so badly tonight? Abigail's fingers twisted together. He's controlling. When we were together, he monitored everything. My phone, my friends, where I went. If I didn't answer fast enough, he'd show up. If I talked to another guy, he'd hurt me. Jin-woo's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. How badly? Badly enough that I left the country to get away from him. And yet here you are. In Seoul. I thought I was safe. He was supposed to be in New York. Jin-woo swirled his drink. Men like Marcus don't let go easily. But you escaped once. Why not again? Abigail looked away. Because he told me if I ran again he'd find me. And next time he wouldn't just hurt me. Who would he hurt? She hesitated. My sister, she whispered. He knows where she lives. He sent me a picture of her last month. Just her. Walking to work. No message. Just the picture. Jin-woo set his glass down. And you didn't go to the police? He has connections. Money. Last time I tried they didn't believe me. Said it was a domestic issue. So I ran. And tonight. Tonight I thought if he saw me with someone else, someone who looked powerful, he'd back off. Leave me alone. She laughed bitterly. Stupid, right? Jin-woo stood walking to the window. He gazed out over the city, hands in his pockets. Not stupid, he said quietly. Desperate. Silence filled the space between them. What are you going to do with me? Abigail asked. Jin-woo turned. Keep you safe. Why? Because you asked. And because I don't like men who hurt women. There was something in his voice, a buried rage, old and cold. Who are you really? Abigail pressed. Why did that waiter bow to you? Why do you have guards? Because I'm not a good man, Abigail. Jin-woo's smile was sharp. But I'm better than him. Abigail woke on a couch, covered with a soft blanket she didn't remember pulling over herself. She sat up, disoriented. The penthouse. It hadn't been a dream. She heard movement from the kitchen. Jin-woo emerged, dressed in a simple black t-shirt and slacks, holding 2 cups of coffee. He looked different in daylight. Younger. Almost human. You didn't try to leave, he observed, handing her a cup. Where would I go? Smart. Abigail sipped the coffee. Perfect. Annoyingly perfect. I have work today, she said. No, you don't. I called your gallery. Told them you're taking personal leave. Abigail shot to her feet. You can't just. I can. And I did. Jin-woo's tone was maddeningly calm. Until Marcus is handled, you don't go anywhere public. Handled? What does that mean? Jin-woo set his cup down. It means I'm going to have a conversation with him. Abigail's stomach twisted. You can't hurt him. That'll just make things worse. Not unless he gives me reason to. Jin-woo stepped closer. But I will make it very clear that you're under my protection. And that if he comes near you again there will be consequences. He won't listen. He will. Because I know exactly who I am. And soon so will he. Marcus paced his living room, phone pressed to his ear. I don't care what it costs, he snapped. I want everything on Jin-woo Kang. Who he is, what he does, who he works for. Everything. Pause. What do you mean you can't? Marcus's face darkened. He froze. His apartment door opened. He hadn't unlocked it. Jin-woo stepped inside, flanked by 2 men in dark suits. The door closed behind them with a quiet click. We need to talk, Jin-woo said, voice smooth as silk. Marcus straightened, trying to regain composure. I don't know who you think you are, but you can't just break into my... Sit. One word. Absolute authority. Marcus sat. Jin-woo settled into the chair across from him, perfectly relaxed. Abigail. She's mine now. She's not anyone's. Especially not yours. Jin-woo smiled. You had your chance. You lost it when you decided violence was affection. I never. Don't. Jin-woo's voice turned to ice. I know everything. The hospital visit. The restraining order you had your lawyer bury. The photographs you've been sending. Everything. Marcus's face paled. I'm going to give you 2 options, Jin-woo continued. Option 1, you leave. Tonight. You go back to New York and you never contact Abigail again. Not a call. Not a text. Not a thought. And option 2? Jin-woo leaned forward. I make you disappear. Permanently. The air in the room grew heavy. Marcus laughed, nervous, strained. You're bluffing. One of Jin-woo's men placed a folder on the coffee table. Marcus opened it. Inside were photographs. Financial records. Communications. Evidence of things Marcus thought were buried. His hands trembled. I told you. I know everything. Jin-woo stood. You have 12 hours to leave Seoul. If you're still here tomorrow, my men will come for you. And they won't be as polite as I've been. Marcus looked up, fear finally breaking through his facade. Who are you? Jin-woo buttoned his suit jacket. Someone you should have avoided. He turned and walked toward the door. She won't stay with you, Marcus called out, desperation creeping into his voice. She's afraid of you. Jin-woo paused, glancing back. Perhaps. But at least she's alive. The door opened. Jin-woo entered, alone this time. It's done, he said. Abigail turned. What did you do? I had a conversation. She searched his face for signs of violence. Blood. Anything. But he was pristine. Come. He's leaving Seoul, Jin-woo added. Tonight. He won't bother you again. Abigail's knees weakened. How can you be sure? Because he's afraid of me now. Jin-woo crossed to the bar, poured himself another drink. More afraid than you ever were of him. Relief crashed over her, followed immediately by suspicion. Why would he be afraid of you? Jin-woo sipped his drink. Because I showed him who I am. And who are you? He set the glass down and turned to face her fully. Jin-woo Kang. Head of the Kang family. Abigail's blood ran cold. The Kang family. As in, yes. His eyes held hers. I run one of the largest organized crime syndicates in Seoul. The room spun. Abigail gripped the back of a chair for support. You're telling me I kissed a mob boss? Technically, I prefer businessman. Jin-woo's tone was almost playful. But yes. Oh my God. She pressed her hands to her face. I'm so stupid. You survived. Jin-woo crossed to her, gently pulling her hands away from her face. You did what you had to do. Don't regret that. I jumped from one nightmare into another. Did you? His thumb brushed her cheek and she hated how her breath caught. Have I hurt you? Threatened you? Taken anything you didn't offer? No, but, then stop comparing me to him. Abigail pulled back. You're a criminal. I am. You probably kill people. When necessary. Her stomach turned. How can you say that so calmly? Jin-woo's expression hardened. Because I live in a world where hesitation means death. I didn't choose this life, Abigail. I was born into it. But I survive it by being smarter, faster, and more ruthless than everyone else. That doesn't make it right. No. It doesn't. He turned away. But it keeps the people I care about safe. Silence. What now? Abigail whispered. Jin-woo poured another drink. Now you decide. Whether you stay. Or whether you walk out that door. She stared at him. You'd let me leave? Yes. Just like that. He met her gaze. I'm not Marcus. I won't force you to do anything. But if you leave, my protection leaves with you. And if I stay? Then you're mine. Completely. Until I decide it's safe for you to go. Abigail walked to the window looking out over the city. Somewhere down there Marcus was packing. Running. Because of Jin-woo. She thought about her sister. About the months of fear. About the bruises that had finally faded from her skin but never from her memory. She thought about Jin-woo's touch, gentle despite everything. She turned. I'll stay. For now. Jin-woo's expression didn't change but something in his eyes softened. For now. 3 days passed. 3 days of living in Jin-woo's penthouse, surrounded by luxury and danger in equal measure. He was surprisingly considerate. He gave her space. Privacy. He didn't push. But she also noticed things. The men who came and went at odd hours. The phone calls in Korean low and urgent. The way Jin-woo's jaw tightened when certain names were mentioned. On the 4th night Abigail couldn't sleep. She wandered into the living room and found Jin-woo at his desk. Paperwork spread before him, a glass of whiskey at his elbow. Can't sleep? He asked without looking up. No. Jin-woo set down his pen. Come here. She approached cautiously. He gestured to the chair beside him. She sat. What are you working on? She asked. Business. Some of it legal. He leaned back. There are people who would use you against me if they knew you were here. Rival families. Enemies. People who want what I have. And what do you have? Power. Territory. Influence. He paused. And now you. Abigail's pulse quickened. I'm not yours. Aren't you? Jin-woo's gaze was intense. You're in my home. Under my protection. You eat my food, sleep under my roof. What would you call that? Temporary. Perhaps. He reached out, tucking a curl behind her ear. Or perhaps it's the beginning of something else. Abigail's breath hitched. You don't know me. I know enough. I know you're brave. Reckless even. I know you're loyal. You stayed with Marcus far longer than you should have to protect your sister. I know you're smart because you recognized danger and acted on instinct. His fingers traced her jawline. And I know you're beautiful. But you already knew that. Jin-woo, I'm not Marcus, he said softly. I won't hurt you. You might. Just in a different way. He pulled back slightly. You're right. I might. At least he was honest. They both turned. Jin-woo stood walking toward the phone. The screen showed an incoming call. Unknown number. He answered, putting it on speaker. Hello. Heavy breathing. Then a voice, distorted, mechanical. You took something that doesn't belong to you. Jin-woo's expression hardened. Who is this? Tell the girl she made a mistake. Tell her she should have stayed with Marcus. Abigail's blood turned to ice. Marcus is gone, Jin-woo said coldly. Marcus was a pawn. The voice laughed. But the game isn't over. The line went dead. Jin-woo crushed the phone in his hand, pieces scattering across the floor. What was that? Abigail whispered. Jin-woo's jaw clenched. A complication. Pack a bag. We're leaving. Now. Leaving where? Somewhere safer. He pulled out his own phone, dialing rapidly. This penthouse is compromised. Jin-woo's hand was firm on her lower back as he guided her toward the car in the underground parking garage. Two of his men flanked them, eyes scanning the shadows. They reached the car. The door opened. Gunfire erupted. Jin-woo shoved Abigail to the ground, his body covering hers. Bullets ricocheted off concrete. His men returned fire, the garage exploding with sound and chaos. Stay down. Jin-woo shouted. Jin-woo pulled a gun from inside his jacket. Sleek, black, lethal. He rose, firing with precision. One of the attackers fell. Then another. Silence. Jin-woo scanned the garage, gun still raised. Then he holstered it and pulled Abigail to her feet. Are you hurt? He demanded. She shook her head, trembling. Get in the car. Now. She obeyed. Jin-woo slid in beside her. Drive. Don't stop. The car peeled out, tires screaming. Who were they? Abigail gasped. Hired guns. Professionals. But they knew where we'd be. Which means someone close to me talked. Abigail pressed her hands to her face. This is insane. Stop. Jin-woo's voice cut through her panic. This isn't your fault. You're not alone anymore. She looked at him, this beautiful, dangerous man who had somehow become her only anchor. Where are we going? A safe house. Off the grid. No one knows about it except me. And if they find us there? Jin-woo's eyes were steel. They won't live to regret it. They arrived near dawn. Jin-woo swept the house first, gun drawn, checking every room. Then he gestured for Abigail to enter. It was smaller than the penthouse. Cozy even. Wood floors, a fireplace, simple furniture. Stay away from the windows, Jin-woo instructed. Don't turn on lights at night. Don't go outside. He pulled out his phone, made another call. Spoke in Korean, tone harsh. When he hung up, his expression was grim. What? Abigail asked. Marcus didn't leave Seoul. He's still here. And according to my sources, he's been meeting with someone. Someone powerful. A rival family. The choice. Abigail sank onto the couch. Why would he do that? Because he wants you back. And he's willing to start a war to get you. The weight of it crashed over her. I should leave, Abigail whispered. I should disappear. No. Jin-woo knelt in front of her, gripping her shoulders. You're not running again. I won't let you. Why? Tears stung her eyes. Why do you care? You don't even know me. Because the moment you kissed me, you became mine. And I protect what's mine. Even if it destroys you? Even then. His hands cupped her face, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. And before she could think, before she could stop herself, Abigail kissed him. Not for survival this time, but because she wanted to. Jin-woo kissed her back, slow, deliberate, possessive. His hands tangled in her curls, pulling her closer. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. Abigail, he murmured. I know. This is complicated. Complicated doesn't begin to cover it. I don't care. She met his gaze. For the first time in months I feel safe. And it's because of you. Something vulnerable flickered across his face. You shouldn't feel safe with me. But I do. He rested his forehead against hers. Then God help us both. Abigail woke in Jin-woo's arms, his heartbeat steady beneath her ear. She should feel scared. Conflicted. Instead she felt whole. But the peace didn't last. Jin-woo's phone buzzed. He answered immediately. Talk. His expression darkened as he listened. Then he sat up, tension radiating from every line of his body. When? Pause. I'm coming. Now. He ended the call and turned to Abigail. I have to go. The choice made a move. Hit one of my warehouses. 3 of my men are dead. Abigail's stomach twisted. I need you to stay here. Lock the doors. Don't answer for anyone but me. Let me come with you. Absolutely not. You're a target. He grabbed his jacket. This is my world, Abigail. And it's ugly. I won't let it touch you more than it already has. He kissed her hard, possessive, then left. The door closed. Abigail was alone. Hours passed. No word from Jin-woo. She tried to distract herself. Read a book. Anything to quiet the growing dread. Then she heard it. The car. She moved to the window, peering through the curtains. A black SUV. Not Jin-woo's. Her pulse spiked. The car stopped. Doors opened. Marcus stepped out. Abigail's blood turned to ice. Behind him came another man, tall, silver-haired, expensive suit. He carried himself with authority. The Choi family boss. Abigail backed away from the window, heart hammering. A knock at the door. Loud. Demanding. Abigail. Marcus's voice. I know you're in there. Open the door. She didn't move. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, the other man said, accent polished, dangerous. Your choice. Silence. Then the sound of breaking glass. They were coming in. Abigail ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife. Her hands shook. The door splintered. Footsteps. Marcus appeared in the doorway, flanked by 2 armed men. He smiled. There you are. Stay back, Abigail warned, raising the knife. Put that down before you hurt yourself. I'll scream. No one will hear you. Marcus stepped closer. You thought you could replace me? With him. I didn't replace you. I escaped you. His expression twisted. You belong to me. I belong to myself. The silver-haired man, the Choi boss, appeared behind Marcus. Enough. Take her. The armed men moved forward. Abigail slashed wildly with the knife. One of them cursed, backing off. But the other grabbed her wrist, twisting until the knife clattered to the floor. No, she screamed. Marcus grabbed her, yanking her close. You're coming with me. And this time you won't run. Suddenly, gunfire. Everyone dropped. The front door exploded inward. Jin-woo stood there, gun raised, fury incarnate. Let her go. Marcus's men raised their weapons. Jin-woo didn't flinch. You pull those triggers and you're dead before you hit the ground. My men have this place surrounded. As if on cue, shadows moved outside. A dozen armed figures taking position. The Choi boss raised a hand. Stand down. Marcus's grip on Abigail tightened. She's mine. She's not. Jin-woo's voice was ice. And you're a dead man. You'd start a war over a woman? Over her. Jin-woo's eyes blazed. Yes. The Choi boss laughed, cold, calculating. Interesting. The great Jin-woo Kang brought to his knees by a girl. Let her go, Jin-woo repeated. And I'll let you walk out of here. And if we refuse? Jin-woo fired. The bullet slammed into the wall inches from the Choi boss's head. That's your only warning. Tension crackled. Marcus's hands shook on Abigail. You won't shoot. You might hit her. I never miss, Jin-woo said calmly. He fired again. The bullet grazed Marcus's shoulder. He screamed, releasing Abigail. She ran to Jin-woo and he pulled her behind him. Final offer, Jin-woo said to the Choi boss. Leave. No. Or I end this. The Choi boss studied him, then smiled. Very well. But this isn't over. Yes. It is. Jin-woo's gun didn't waver. Touch her again and I'll burn your entire empire to the ground. The Choi boss gestured to his men. We're leaving. They dragged a bleeding Marcus toward the door. At the threshold, Marcus looked back at Abigail, rage and pain in his eyes. This isn't over. Yes, Abigail said quietly. It is. They left. Jin-woo lowered his gun, turning to Abigail. Are you hurt? She shook her head, trembling. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. I'm sorry, he murmured into her hair. I should have been here. That's what matters. He pulled back, searching her face. You're safe now. I promise. Because I'm going to make sure Marcus and the Choice understand that you're untouchable. That anyone who comes for you answers to me. Abigail touched his face. This is insane. I know. I'm falling for a mob boss. Jin-woo smiled. Genuine, warm, the first real smile she'd seen from him. And I'm falling for a woman brave enough to kiss a stranger to survive. What happens now? Now. He kissed her forehead. Now you decide if you want to stay in my world. Knowing what it means. What I am. Abigail thought about it. About fear and freedom. About survival and choice. About the man who had protected her when he didn't have to. I want to stay, she said. Not because I'm afraid, but because I choose you. Jin-woo's eyes softened. Then welcome to my world, Abigail. He kissed her. And outside, the dawn broke over the mountains. 2 months later, Abigail stood at the window in Jin-woo's penthouse, now decorated with her things. Art books, photographs, personal touches. She held coffee in her hand, watching the city wake. Arms wrapped around her from behind. Good morning, Jin-woo murmured. Morning. What are you thinking about? Abigail smiled. How different my life is now. Regrets? No. Just amazed. Marcus was gone. Deported back to the US, his assets frozen, his threats empty. The choice had backed down after Jin-woo made it clear that touching Abigail meant war. And Abigail had found something she never expected. Love. In the most unlikely place. I have something for you, Jin-woo said. He handed her a small box. Inside was a key. What's this? Your own place. Separate from mine. So you have freedom. Choice. Abigail looked at him, stunned. You're giving me an out? I'm giving you autonomy. You stay because you want to. Not because you have to. She set the box down and turned in his arms. I don't need an out. I need you. Jin-woo kissed her slow and deep. Then you have me, he whispered. For as long as you want. Abigail smiled against his lips. She had kissed a stranger to survive. But she stayed because she chose to. And that made all the difference.